सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Are you able to hear?
No.
Yeah, that's what I also thought. It's on. After the lofty heights of the 13th chapter, where we soared for 35 verses, the 14th chapter deals with a topic which is much more practical and whose impetus, whose seeds, the seeds for whose jignasa, the desire to know, is planted in the 13th chapter itself. If I can direct you to the verse in the 13th chapter, either the 21st or the 22nd, depending on whether you have that question or not. पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थः हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गः अस्य सदसद् योनि जन्मसु. So the cause of birth and all is due to what? Due to the gunas. So the gunas, the attachment to the gunas, or rather forget attachment. What is that? It is the connection or the bondage, the feeling that I am bound by these gunas that cause rebirth, meaning cause a certain kind of a bondage. This was already pointed out. So naturally there will be a jignasa on part of Arjuna to know more about the gunas. And even if this specific verse is not highlighted, after talking about the mix-up of what? Prakriti and Purusha as a cause of samsara, as a result of samsara, what is there? What is there is the discussion of seeing how this mix-up can be avoided, how to have some daily tips and how to keep this mix-up not really affecting oneself. So therefore, the 14th chapter is begun. The 14th chapter is primarily about the three gunas. What are they? Okay, I was going to say Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. So, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, these are the gunas. So the whole chapter is primarily about the gunas. And then it discusses 5 subtopics with regard to the gunas. First is, it discusses what are the lakshanas, the descriptions of the gunas. Guna lakshanam, guna lakshanani, first topic. In this subtopic of gunas, guna lakshanani, then bandha prakaraha. Bandha prakaraha means how do the gunas bind? I have to know, otherwise how will I be free? I have to know how sattva binds, how rajas binds, how tamas binds, etc. Otherwise how will I be free? I will not be free at all. And so this is the second topic. Guna bandha, what was the first one? Guna lakshana, bandha prakara. Second topic, bandha prakara. Third topic, then how are the people? The people, how do we identify in ourselves? We don't worry about other people. In ourselves, how do we identify today am I sattva guna pradhana or rajo guna pradhana? What is primary in me? How to identify? That comprises the third topic, and that is guna linga. So we have guna lakshana, guna Bandha Prakara and Gunalinga. 3. And then Gatihi. Gatihi means Sattva Guna Pradhana Jiva drops the body, and what happens to that person? So that is Gati. After death, what happens? Gatihi. And then finally, the last topic is Phalam. Phalam means what happens to the person while living is Phalam. What happens to the person of particular compositions of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas after dropping of the body is called Gatihi. This is the whole chunk of the 14th chapter from verses about 5 to 18. So first 4 verses, Bhagavan gives a general discussion about Prakriti again and how Prakriti is responsible for the gunas. First 4 verses. Then verses 5 to about 18, 18, description of these 5 topics which we just talked about. Guna Bandha, Guna Lakshana, Bandha Prakara, Guna Linga, Gatihi and Phalam. And then finally, verses 19 and 20 talk about release from the gunas. How do you release from the gunas? Atma Jnanam. Everything answer is Atma Jnanam. One is in safe territory if you say Atma Jnanam. Then, so that's 19 and 20. So from 21 to 27, Gunatita Lakshanani. What is the definition? What are the characteristics of a Jnani who is Gunatita? Same Jnani we saw where? In 2nd chapter, from the standpoint of desirelessness. Same Jnani we saw where? Where else? 12th chapter, from the standpoint of Bhakti and from the standpoint of how the Jnani lives in the world. And the same Jnani Lakshana we will see from the standpoint of not being affected by gunas. So this is the whole map of the entire chapter. So with that, let us start. So that's why it is called Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Om Atha Chaturdashodhyayah. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Param Bhuyah Pravakshyami. Jnananam Jnanamuttamam. Yajñātvā munayas sarve. Param siddhimito gataha. Idam jnanamupashritya. Mama sadharmyamagataha. Sarge pinopajayante. Pralayena vyathanti cha. So, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. No question from Arjuna. Bhagavan himself, looking at how nicely Arjuna was listening to chapter 13, decided to start chapter 14, and then there he says, Param. Param means that which is the ultimate. Bhuyah Pravakshyami. Again I am going to tell you. Why? Because that was on a very high level. Here the same thing you can understand from the standpoint of your own conduct, your own behavior, and the behavior and the conduct of people around you. And then from the standpoint of gunas. So, Param Bhuyah Pravakshyami. Again and again I'll tell you what? Jnananam Jnanam Uttamam. The best and the most foremost of all knowledge. Jnananam Jnanam Uttamam. So, Jnananam Jnanam means the most exalted among all forms of knowledge. Yajñātva, knowing which, Munayaha, the contemplative sages, all of them, what happened? Param Siddhim Itaha. Itaha means having been gone from this body, having dropped the body, gained Videha Mukti. Param Siddhim means here Videha Mukti. Videha Mukti means freedom from the from holding on to this body. Freedom from the body for a Jivan Mukta is called Videha Mukti. You can't have Videha Mukti without Jivan Mukti. So Jivan Mukti is there, and then only Videha Mukti. There is another thing called Krama Mukti in stages, and that is after going to Brahma Loka, very, very rare. So Videha Mukti they got means what? They already enjoyed Jivan Mukti. At the droppage of the body, what is there? Videha Mukti. And so this is all the exalted sages got this Mukti, meaning what? This is the Stuti, the praise of the Jnanam. And why should the Jnanam be praised? The Jnanam is praised because it's like a restaurant review. If the restaurant has a good review, everybody will want to come. Where do we go to read these reviews? There are certain blogs, there are certain things, apps. And then the people go and write the reviews. Don't set foot here, terrible food, terrible service, nobody will go. But then if they say best restaurant ever, everybody will want to go. Here also best Jnanam ever and reviewed by what? Who? Exalted sages nonetheless. The sages have left a review. How? By gaining first Jivan Mukti and then Videha Mukti. That is the proof that this Jnanam is the best. And so therefore, that's what I am going to tell you. Further, what is the phala, or what is the greatness of this Jnanam? Idam Jnanam Upashritya, gaining this knowledge, taking ashraya in this knowledge, resorting to this knowledge, what happened? They have become one with me. They have gained oneness with me, meaning they have understood themselves as none other than myself alone. They have gained that oneness because they have identified with what? Purusha, Kshetrajna, because of this knowledge, not with Prakriti. And so they have gained oneness with me alone. And as a result, what will happen to them? We have to reverse this, but let's at least understand this. Sargepi na upajayante, pralaye na vyathanti cha. Sarga means what? Creation. When the creation takes place, they are not born. And when pralaya comes, they don't suffer death. If they are not born, how are they going to die? Correct? So we have to reverse it. We have to take it irrespectively, not respectively. So we have to read it as pralayena vyathayanti. In pralaya they are not disturbed, they are not going through agony and fear of death. And then in the next sarga of creation, what happens to them? They don't need to be born again. And this is nice because again and again being born, again and again doing this, very boring. Again and again, all the time, same thing. A for apple, B for bat, C for cat, D for dog, all the time. Every life, how boring. It's like a, what is that called in English? Deja vu. Every minute is a deja vu. Deja vu, full of woes. And everything has been, I have to do this all over again. So here, that is not there. They have been released from the jaws of time, from the jaws of rebirth, which is due to being released from the jaws of Ajnanam. Further, how this Sarga, now he gets into the topic of Sarga and Pralaya, especially Sarga. So the next two verses. Mama yonir mahad brahma तस्मिन् गर्भं दधाम्यहम् सम्भवः सर्वभूतानां ततो भवति भारत सर्वयोनिषु कौन्तेय मूर्तयः सम्भवन्ति याः तासां ब्रह्म महद्योनिः अहं बीजप्रदः पिता So, mama yonihi, my womb. Womb means what? Maya. Maya Shakti is the womb. Mama yonihi, mahad brahma. Brahma here is Maya. Very interesting. So, sometimes Brahman means Maya. Contextually. And what kind of a Maya? Mahad. Mahad means infinite is my Maya. She has so much power, she has so much reach. And what is this? So this is what? This is my yoni. She is my womb. And then what happens? Tasmin garbham dadhamyaham. There I plant life. How do you plant life? This is just put in a way that we can understand. This is not planting life or not. Sankalpa matrena. Jnanameva yasya tapaha. Yes, tapasa chiyate brahma. Like this we saw in the Mundaka Upanishad. That yasya jnanamayam tapaha. So that knowledge, what is this knowledge? The knowledge of how everything is made, how everything works, and the knowledge of the previous cycle of creation. That is the knowledge. Why change what was working already? It was flawless, it was infallible. You just put different names. That's all it is. Like our Seva roster. So some people have left. So then what do? We take off their names, and then anybody else want to join, you put the new names, and then you give it fortnightly. So like that. So the blueprint for the Jagat is already there. What tasks are there, what things are there, what kinds of species are needed for the karma of the jivas is already there. And depending on the karmas of these jivas which are yet to be created, based on that the Jagat gets a little tweak here or there, but more or less its blueprint is already there. So it's not, this is what? Prakriti is mom. Mom is who? Mom and dad, you cannot make a distinction. That's why Lakshmi is in the heart of Vishnu. She resides in the heart. You will see there is a small, small Lakshmi in the heart sometimes. And they garland her separately, and sometimes they put a little dress on her also. In Balaji temples. And then Vishnu temples. And then what? Shiva and Parvati, one Ardhanarishvara, right here, half masculine, half feminine. Left side is feminine, right side is masculine. Why even Ardhanarishvara? Look at Dakshinamurti. Left side is feminine, right side is masculine. So Shiva and Shakti are one. Don't think that, okay, this one is father, this one is mother. It's all one. So that we understand this through the reproductive cycle, it is presented in a unique way. That's all. And so this is what is Mahadyoni. Mahadyoni means it's a huge Maya. And then Sambhavas Sarva Bhutanam Tataha Bhavati. So all the beings come from that knowledge alone. That knowledge which is that primordial cause of birth of this Maya. Because of this, in association with the Purusha in the form of the intelligent cause and the material cause together, everything comes. And then Sarvayonishu. Sarvayonishu means those Murtayah, anything that has form, any entity, any being that has form is born of any yoni, whatever they are born of, please know that they have come from my yoni alone, which is what? Mom, Prakriti. And then what am I? I am the father, Prakriti is the mother. I and Prakriti are one and the same. Prakriti non-separate from me. Aham bija pradaha pita. This is just to understand how since birth takes place, gunas come. Gunas are there from birth to understand that the birth of the whole creation is given because the creation is, as it were, as though trapped in the tapestry of the gunas. Like that carpet weaver story I told you yesterday. They are all trapped, as it were, in the time-space matrix and in this whole tapestry of sattva, rajas and tamas. The gunas are not new to us. In the second chapter itself, the gunas came, the discussion of the gunas. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunnyo Bhava Arjuna. Arjuna was told. Even the Vedas only talk of the three gunas. The Vedas, especially the first portion of the Vedas, are within the scope of the three gunas. Therefore, should you do? You should come out of that. Nistraigunnyo Bhava. Be the one who is untouched by the gunas. And for that, what should you do? You should be nitya sattvastha, resort to sattva. Niryoga kshemaha. Give up the idea, I have to protect myself, I have to get this in order to be okay, I have to get rid of this in order to be okay. Get rid of those ideas. And atmaman bhava. Be courageous, be self-reliant. And this is what nirdvandvo bhava. All this was told. Be into this oneness. Pursue this knowledge of oneness. So this guna is now going to be discussed in detail on these 5 topics, starting with the next verse. Satvarajastama iti gunav prakriti sambhavaha nibadhnanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakamanāmayam sukha sangena badhnāti jnana sangena chanagha. So the 3 gunas are named in verse number 5, just a list. So this Prakriti, so we saw this Prakriti out of which all forms have come, and one more thing that has come out of Prakriti are these 3 gunas called Sattva, Rajaha, Tamaha iti gunaha. These gunas have come and then born of Prakriti. And then what do? Nibadhnanti. Nishchayena badhnanti. Definitely they bind. They definitely bind. They have a binding influence. Who do they bind? Dehinam. Dehinam means what? Who is Dehinam? Can they bind Kshetrajna? No. Can they bind Kshetra? No, because it is inert. Who do they bind? Who do the gunas bind? Huh? As though you can get a free pass everywhere except here. Huh? Who is this Jiva? Yeah. Who is the one who is Ajnani? Ahankara avachinna chaitanya. That is the thing. They cannot bind, what is that? Kshetrajna. Kshetrajna is Ishvara. They cannot bind the kshetra. Why? Inertatvat. Because it is inert. Of the reason why it is inert. Even if you bind, it doesn't know it is bound. So what's the use? Why would Prakriti waste her time binding something which doesn't even know it's bound? So it cannot bind kshetra. It cannot bind kshetrajna. Dehin, the one who is in the deha, means the one who has deha abhimana, identified with the deha, and by implication manaha, chittam, what else? Buddhi. Who is this? Ahankara, I notion. And who is kshetrajna? Sakshi. Sakshi, objective. Ahankara, subjective. In fact, the one that says, I am ignorant, who is that? Ahankara. Ahankara is affected by the ignorance. Ahankara is, as it were, bound by the gunas. And that is what needs to be freed. So when I say, I am subject to the gunas, it is, I am talking like from the standpoint of identification with what? Ahankara. What is this ahankara? Borrowed consciousness from Ishvara, which is all consciousness, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Borrowed consciousness is ahankara, but that borrowed consciousness is what? Helplessly, hopelessly identified with a body, mind, sense complex rather than Chaitanya. It is upadhi identified. It becomes a gatekeeper, like a goalkeeper in a game of the upadhi. Shoo, shoo, go away. Yes, yes, come in. That is the one. So this ahankara is hopelessly bound. Why? The ahankara is not studying Vedanta. The ahankara is not liberated. The ahankara comes under the spell of gunas because it is not liberated, because it takes itself to be finite, and then therefore it takes everything to be real, including the influence of the gunas. So dehinam here means ahankara abhimani chaitanya. So that Chaitanya which obtains in the body mind sense complex, which the ahankara identifies with, which the ahankara borrows that light to what? Not identify with that light, but takes that to extends that to just the body mind sense complex. So dehe, in the body, dehinam, even though the changeless, the indweller's truth is what? Sakshi, avyaya, nirguna, nirvikari, chetana, chaitanya. Instead, the ahankara takes itself to be what? Takes itself to be savyaya, changing all the time, vikari, and then gunavan, and then anitya. This is all these things which we saw in the last chapter, they continue here. This is why the person suffers, and then 3 forms of bondages and 3 lakshanas are given in the next 3 verses, each one for one guna. So here we have to see this, that the first line will describe the guna and the second line will describe the bandha prakara. So guna lakshana in the first line and bandha prakara, the mode of bondage, in the second line is going to be discussed. Tatra sattvam nirvalatvat prakashakamanāmayam sukha sangena badhnāti jnana sangena chanagha rajo ragatmakam vidhi Krishna sanga samudbhavam tanni badhnāti kaunteya karma कर्मसङ्गेन देहिनम् तमस्त्वज्ञानजं विद्धि मोहनं सर्वदेहिनां प्रमादालस्य निद्राभिः तन्निबध्नाति भारत. So first he takes sattva. What is sattva? Godlike, pure, a mind that is free of ragadveshas, not revengeful, friendly, not resentful, not having a lot of agenda. This is in balance. Oh, sattva can also go out of balance. That is what we are being told. Sattva also becomes a cause of bondage when it becomes an addictive thing. Like for example, sattva means nivritti. The person wants to kind of go away from noise, from noisy environments, wants calm, tranquility and knowledge. Arey, what's wrong with that? How can you say this is bondage? Because the person cannot subsist even with one more person on the planet. That is why. Why does he exist? Why does she exist? Swamiji knew a Swami like that. And that Swami said he was elderly and was in Rishikesh, living in one small hut in the 60s. In fact, Swamiji himself had arranged a little hut for him to stay. So he could be safe, he could be warm, he could just get bhiksha easily and maintain himself. He said, people here are noisy. Swamiji started to laugh. What is there? There is no noise here. Even if you take Rishikesh now, you can say perhaps it's noisy. But Rishikesh in the 60s, there were no people. Who is making the noise? Swamiji laughed. He said, what do you mean noisy? No. I want to go somewhere else where there is no noise. And then he begged Swamiji to send him to an ashram in Uttarakashi. Swamiji arranged for him. Swamiji also said, it's so cold there and you are much elderly. Maybe you should just take it easy. No, I have to go. And then he was sent to Uttarakashi. He stayed in Kailas ashram there, and then 3 months later he was back. What happened? Swamiji said, are you happy? No. What happened? Oh, don't tell me you're getting disturbed. Yes, it's very noisy. Uttarakashi is noisy? How? Too many birds, Swamiji. In the morning when I sit to meditate, cheep, 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 they are singing. And I cannot handle it. And so, this is the condition of the bondage by sattva. 2 ways it binds. What is the bondage? This is the sukha sangena. Sangha means through association, addiction with sukha. Sukha here doesn't mean, comfy surroundings, etc. Sukha means a certain tranquility. And they get dependent upon that tranquility, people who are bound by this sattva, and they cannot handle even the person in the next room. Okay? Too much sattva is not a good thing. Alright? And so, sukha sangena badhnati, and then what? Jnana sanghena cha, he anagha. Jnana sangha, how can that be wrong? Jnana sangha means wanting to study. Wanting to study means what? Not Atma Jnanam. Anything they can hold up. They are knowledge junkies. They keep wanting knowledge addicts. They want to know, as I said, more and more of less and less. Or they will end up knowing less and less of more and more. That's all. And so they keep, their mind is kind of research oriented. They just want to keep studying. They don't like people particularly that much. They are introverted and they just don't want anybody around. And then even if they are around, they have to be in a group. They will just withdraw and sit. Okay? And so this is too much sattva. bound as though by sattva this ahankara is attached to the sattva. So see here, the first line was the description of the sattva. Second line is bandha prakara, how does sattva bind? So first one what? Sattva, sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakam anamayam. What is sattva? Nirmala, pure. Pure means free of ragadveshas. Then prakashakam. Prakashakam means the mind is clear. Anamayam. The mind is free of affliction. The mind is not restless. The mind is clear. The mind is free of affliction. Bright and tranquil is the mind, but then it becomes a source of bondage, because to maintain that brightness and tranquility, I have to work so hard, and then I cannot handle people, I cannot handle situations, I cannot handle even the bird chirping. This becomes the condition. And so these are all ideal types. No one person is like that. You can't say, I don't know anybody like this. And so that does not, even if you don't know anybody like this, that does not disprove this point that is being made. Because these are what? Ideal typologies. So there will be some semblance to it in real life, but these are ideal type situations. And then the next one, rajas. Rajas means what? Ragatmakam vidhi. Ragatmakam means it is, raga here is color. It colors the mind. What does it color the mind with? Preferences. Lots of raga, lots of dvesha. Rajaha ragatmakam vidhi. And then, and how is this rajas born? Ragatmakam vidhi trishna sanga samudbhavam. And then, so what does it do? It is born of a certain longing. There is a lot of ragadvesha, so the rajas in association with the ragadvesha creates trishna. In association with this raga and dvesha, trishna means what? Deep, urgent longings. Rajo ragatmakam vidhi. Trishna sanga samudbhavam. How does it bind? Second line. Karma sangena badnati. Because when there is trishna, when there is longing, can you sit quietly? Not at all. You become very much wanting to fill up those, what is that? The desires. You want to attend to those desires. When? Yesterday. You want to attend to them urgently. Right now you want to attend to those desires. I want the thing right now. So if the desire is in the heart, you don't say, okay, we'll see tomorrow. No tomorrow. Right now I want. And so the desires in the heart, do not let the person means the ahankara, sit in peace. It makes the person extremely action-oriented, extroverted, ambitious and goal-oriented. You can say, what is wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that. We are talking of typologies. We are just looking at it dispassionately, looking at typologies. So the typologies of Rajaf Pradhana people who have a predominance of Rajas, this is how they will behave. They will look for things to do. You put them in Vedanta class, then they will not sleep. What will be they doing? They will be looking and seeing how many people are sleeping and counting them, because they need something to do. So this is the kind of person, because they cannot focus on the knowledge. It is very calming. That is for the sattvic person. And so, and what will the tamasic person be doing? Dozing off. And so the rajasic person will be looking around and doing a survey of who is sleeping. That is their work for the 1 hour. Okay. And so karma sangena badhnati, because whenever there is kama, understand there will be karma. Because the kama, the desire exerts an intense pressure. What kind of pressure? Fulfill me now. And so these are in balance. The rajas is wonderful. Everybody needs rajas. Everybody needs sattva. In fact, even everybody needs tamas also. Because without tamas, we can't sleep. We can't rest. So therefore, here we are talking of pradhana, means an overkill of rajas. Too much rajas. What will that person do? The person will be jittery, restless, angry. If the desire is not fulfilled, anger comes. In fact, the word, the color red is associated with both anger and rajas. Mars, the planet Mars, the color red, anger. Meaning, when there is so much desire, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. All you have to tell them is no, you can't. And then smoke comes out of the ears, like in the comics. How can you do this? I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to go here, I have places to go, people to see, things to do, you don't understand, and everything is very, very important. And these are the activists, we need them. These are the people with the impetus for social change. We need them also. We need all of them. And so this is rajas. How does it bind? Because it makes one addicted to karma, so much so that you are not even comfortable in your own skin. You want to jump out of the skin in order to do things. And this is why it binds. Then the next one, tamastu, whereas tamas is ajnanajam vidhi. Ajnanajam means born of ajnanam. Ajnanam and tamas are synonymous. So tamastu ajnanajam vidhi. Mohanam sarvadehinam. Mohan here, Mohana doesn't mean Krishna. Okay, yeah. It doesn't mean Lord Krishna, whose name is also Mohana. Here, Mohana is the lut form of the dhatu muh, to delude. So, Mohanam means the one who deludes. Who? All the people in all the bodies deludes. How does it delude? By saying, what's wrong with Ajnanam? Nothing wrong. See, did your grandparents know this knowledge? No, they didn't even know that there was such a thing called Vedanta. Weren't they fine people? Yeah, okay. Did your great-grandparents know? No. Look outside this ashram hall. Does anybody know all the people going for walks, all the people going to the melas, all the people having food outside and doing things? They seem to be all right. And so, no need to know. Why it will take so much effort? Tamas does not like effort. Tamas pradhana doesn't like to do a lot of effort. Opposite of rajas. Rajas can't stop acting and acting out. Tamas will, even if you give money to the tamas pradhana personality, ideally speaking, they will say, I don't want your money, I want to go to sleep. I don't want that at all. You keep your money with you, let me rest. How much are you going to rest? Not much, not much motivation. Not much motivation. It's a certain kind of a personality type, according to the Veda Shastra. Oh, this is that, what is that? This is, the house is on fire, somebody yells. And then the tamasic person who is sleeping says, oh, that's what it is. I thought I felt a heating pad on my back. Oh, okay, it is fire. Okay. Turns over and goes to sleep. And so, this is under the extreme circumstances, the tamasic person is not motivated. And why is that person having so much non-motivation? Because of its association with ajnanam. Both the kinds of ajnanam. Anatma ajnanam and atma ajnanam. I don't know, and what I don't know cannot hurt me, so why should I know? I'm not going to know. I'll just go be just like I am. And so, this is, and then how does it bind? It binds in three ways. How does it bind? Pramada. Look at the second line. Pramada. Pramada means negligence. You say, okay, this is how this is done. Okay. And then the next time what? Won't do it the same way. Repeatedly making the same errors all the time. Not because the person is not bright, but because the person is not motivated to understand. Not interested. So this is called pramada. We are not talking of any developmental challenges. We are not talking of any handicaps. We are not talking of any other problems. Person is fine. But then there is a distaste to do things, and so carelessness will be there. Pramada means negligence and carelessness while doing the work. Any work assigned. Then the next one is indolence. Alasya. Alasya means what? Laziness. Indolence. Let it happen. And if I sit here, somebody else will volunteer and do. So why should I bother? If I sit here long enough, it will get done if it is supposed to get done. If it's not supposed to get done, no, but you also won't have this nice thing. We are all doing this together. Doesn't matter. This is the thing. Second one, alasya. Third one, nidra. That which happens in Vedanta class. So, pramada, alasya, nidra. Nidra means sleep. Sleep is important, very important. But here we are talking of excessive sleep due to disinterest. Disinterest can also be because of sorrow. That's a different thing. Here we have to find out why the disinterest has come, the apathy has come. Here the apathy is because of non-involvement in one, not enough involvement in one's own life. Forget the lives of others. So that is this is like a three stereotypes, the three ideal types. And this also binds how? How does this bind? Through the negligence, through what is that? Indolence, alasya and nidra. So you see, there is a gradation. So first we have what? Sattva. And then we have rajas. Then we have tamas. You will not find these people you will not find these personalities exactly as they have been described in the last three verses, 5 to 7, because they don't exist. They are textbook ideal types. Generally, how are the people? Sattvaguna pradhana, rajoguna secondary, tamoguna last. Or rajas is predominant, then sattva, then tamas. Or tamas is predominant, then rajas, then sattva. Like this, we can have 4 combinations of one being predominant, the other being secondary, and the third one being minimal. This is how it is. Because human beings are infinitely more complicated than what is being presented here is just the textbook cases. So this we cannot take it and try to diagnose people according to this, because we will not find people who behave like this and who are so rajasic and so sattvic, etc. And so getting out of the gunas involves what? 2 things. One is, you can't this is going to be told later, you cannot get out of the gunas unless and until there is self-knowledge. Why? Because getting out of the so-called bondage of the gunas involves coming to an understanding of who this ahankara is, who this I is. That this I notion must be, which has now gone and embroiled and enmeshed itself in the gunas, because of Atma Ajnanam, has to be extricated and repatriated with Purusha. It has to be told, it has to be walked over to Brahman and told that you are Kshetrajna, you are Brahman, you are Ishvara, you are not this material cause of the universe, you are not that. You can enjoy matter, you can enjoy the universe, but you are not of it. You are Chaitanya Swarupa, as though enjoying a human experience. And so this is that is why Atma Jnanam is foremost to get out of the gunas. Without Atma Jnanam, one cannot come out of the gunas. This is on the Paramarthika level. On the everyday empirical level, we go from tamas to rajas and from rajas to sattva. That is the attempt every day. In how we live, because this is all on the everyday level, what we eat. That's why we do not eat garlic, because garlic is the blood of Rahu and Ketu. This is what we say. When this demon sneaked into to have a sip of Amrita, when the ocean was churned. This is all metaphoric. The ocean was churned. Ocean is the unconscious mind. And then the desire for knowledge was there. That knowledge was right there. And that was the antidote. First the visha, the toxins, the unconscious came out. Only Shiva could swallow that. That's what happened yesterday. Pradosha, that is the Pradosha puja in the evening. Dosha means evening. And so that was the collective unconscious swallowed up by Lord Shiva, and then after that a pot of Amrita came. That nectar is the knowledge of immortality, the Brahmavidya. Brahmavidya was carried by Dhanvantari, the healing Vishnu in the form of the healer. And only the Devas were allowed to have it because they had all the sattvika tendencies. They had Shamadhi Shatka Sampattihi, they had the sixfold qualities, they had Viveka, Vairagya, Mumukshutvam, they were all ready. The Asuras were not allowed to partake of it because they were not ready, it would be wasted. It would be totally wasted. And so therefore the Devas were called to have it. One Asura sneaked in. He borrowed the dress, or rather snatched the dress of the Deva, looked very sattvic, sneaked in, and then had a sip before he was found out. And then Vishnu sent the chakra because he was not supposed to have it, and then beheaded him. And then what? Then the head separated from the body, but since he had had a sip of Amrita, what happened? He was there forever. In fact, he is going to visit us tomorrow night in the form of the lunar eclipse. Rahu, the head, Ketu, the tail. This is our own shadow, our own unconscious mind, which is here to stay, which is not going to go away. Why? Because it is Ishvara Srishti. We have to learn how to not come under the spell of this tamas, under the spell of this shadow. And so when the blood fell of this Rahu Ketu, who are actually one, but one is head, one is tail because they were separated. When the blood fell, a strange plant grew. And then what is that? Garlic. That was the beginning of garlic. It's a very good Ayurvedic medicine for blood pressure and so many other things. As medicine, it is allowed. Medicine you don't take all the time. Medicine, when do you take? When you are sick, you take. After that, hopefully you stop taking the medicine. So it is not food. We don't consider it food. Why? Because it increases tamas. And what else does it increase? Rajas. Rajas and tamas increasing things are not therefore served in ashrams, generally speaking. And then so certain other things also, like old food. Peas pudding hot, peas pudding cold, peas pudding in the pot, 9 days old. Some like it hot, some like it cold, some like it in the pot, 9 days old. This is full of tamas. Even if you have fridge, and 9 days ago, what date is today? 27th. So that means it was made on the 17th. Yeah, it was made on the 17th, and then you're eating it today. That means what? All the sattva from the food has run away. All the vitamins have committed suicide by now, and all the proteins have died. And then if this food I ingest, I will become like the food. Tamasic, rajasic. So this is how to slowly come out of rajas and tamas in food, in behavior. We practice vak tapas. We practice keeping company of other sattvic people. That's why it is called satsang. Satam sangaha, people who are sattvic. And then we practice eschewing the company of people who we don't want to behave like. Rajasic and tamasic people, or somehow we let them go because they bring out the worst in us. Rajasic and tamasic, how do we know somebody is rajasic or tamasic? Because the worst in me is coming out. It's not really about them, it's me. The worst in me is coming out. So therefore, I put a pause on those relationships and only nurture those relationships and those friendships and those associations where the best of me comes out and the best of the other person also I am able to bring out. This is how we slowly creep towards sattva, and it is like walking through quicksand. 2 steps forward, 1 step backward. 2 more steps forward, 1 more step backward. But slowly we make progress. And then we come to sattva. We don't have to worry about how to let go of the sattva, because the sattva, the sattvic qualities, being very close to Purusha, being very close to Kshetrajna, they integrate. It integrates into that Ishvara. So the sattvic qualities are very close to Ishvara's qualities, Ishvara gunas, and Ishvara is free from gunas, but Ishvara's contentment, purnata, non-wantingness, all this is very close to sattva. And so therefore this sattva then becomes like a stick which is used to climb over a pole, and after you, like in that pole vault game. So you see the runner with a long stick, and then he digs the pole in the sand, uses it to jump over, and then what? Brings the pole along with him? No, pole remains. Somebody can think, if the pole is going to be left behind, I don't need the pole. Let me try to jump like that only. Foolish. Foolish is the person who says, I will not use the pole. Foolish is the person who will say, I will bring the pole along with me because I cannot live without the pole. Both of those are avoided. Sattva drops away on its own, and all that is there is Param Brahma. Then in the next verse, all 3 are just combined and talked about together. Sattvam sukhe sanjayati. Sattvam sukhe sanjayati. Rajah karmani bharata. Rajah karmani bharata. Jnanamavritya tu tamaha. Jnanamavritya tu tamaha. Pramade sanjayatyuta. Pramade sanjayatyuta. This is the repetition of everything together. It's the same thing. So how does sattva binds in the form of pleasure and addiction to knowledge, addiction to a certain tranquility and the pleasure of the mind, and rajas binds through action, and then tamas binds because it covers already that what you know, and then pramada means apathy. It binds in the form of not wanting to do anything. When? Starting right now. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti शान्तिः शान्तिः हरिः ॐ